Sometimes in life, we go through storms that shake our faith and make us question who we truly are. If the struggle is all worth it, and why is the joy of the world so temporal that even in the midst of plenty we feel empty? No wonder our hearts yearned. Out of the depths have I cried unto thee, O Lord. Lord, hear my voice. Let thy ears be attentive to the voice of my supplications. If thou, O Lord, shalt mark iniquities, O Lord, who shall stand? But the Lord says to us, I have engraved you on the palms of my hands. I have made you, and I will carry you. I will sustain you, and I will rescue you. And so for those who believe, we are Populus Fidei, people of faith.
Hi everyone, my name is Sonny Echele and welcome to yet another exciting episode of Populus Fidei. Guys, we know that you guys have missed us so much and we do miss you guys and we promise not to run away. We are back. And today, of course, I have my co-host. I will not be here alone. I mean, what is a podcast or what is Populus Fidei without my co-host? So I have by my right,
Chamaka Obioha. I mean, you guys know me as Chamaka Obioha.
one and only. And by my extreme left, I have the fabulous. Hey, big girl. And guys, hey, today we have in our midst a special guest. He's our father. He's a professor at the Lagos Business School, where he teaches courses in management, marketing, personal sales, selling, and channel management. Guys, we have the amazing Professor Uchenna Uzo. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much. I'm
Thank
very
you so
happy
much.
to be here.
Thank you.
It's always good to be around young people. So I look forward to a conversation.
No, sir, you're talking something as if you're old. Please, you're not old though.
The younger people.
Yeah. Thank you. So today we'll be discussing the roles of Opus Dei in the Catholic Church. There are so many misconceptions. There's so many narratives that have been out there, and it's good to have somebody like you who is very knowledgeable, who is well experienced, to help us clear the air. But first, we're going to start with the basics. What exactly is Opus Dei, and what are the roles it plays on the Catholic Church?
So Opus Dei means work of God. Okay. Work of God. And the mission of Opus Dei is to help everybody in the world discover how to find God in ordinary life. And the way to drive home the message of Opus Dei is maybe to tell a bit of my own story, my own experience. So I'm from a family of 6 children, the second born. And I grew up in a family where I learned what Opus Dei was from the way my parents behaved at home.
Okay.
For instance, so when I was in nursery school, there was a day I took something that didn't belong to me and I brought it back to the house. And my mom discovered it in my bag. And she said, what is this doing here? I don't want to tell you what happened after that. You can imagine. But that was the beginning of learning an aspect of virtue, openness, sincerity. And then when I was finishing primary school, there was a time I wasn't studying. I wasn't reading my books and so on. So I was a truant, let's just call it that. Okay. And then again, my parents, with the way they dealt with the issue, taught me the importance of ordinary work, of study. And like that, they are good example, their way of praying. Gradually, I came to understand as I grew older that there was something spiritual behind that behavior. And it was when I was about 14 that I got to understand in depth what Opus Dei was. And I joined Opus Dei at 14.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and I have not looked back since then. So what's the role in the church is to promote this idea that all of us can become holy in the practice of our ordinary work by trying to do ordinary things extraordinarily well.
All right.
I think that's the core of the message.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
So I want to ask, a lot of people think about religious orders like Jesuits, the Franciscans, right? But Opus Dei is different. So how would you explain that, difference?
I'll use myself as an example to illustrate it. So I'm a professor of marketing at Lagos Business School, and I continue while being in Opus Dei to practice my profession.
Okay.
You are an actor, for example,
Yes, sir.
and as an actor, if you joined Opus Dei, you can continue your profession.
Okay.
But if you join the Dominicans or the Jesuits, you would have to leave your profession. You would have to stop being a musician, or you'd have to stop being a footballer. You would need to change your state in life. So this is one radical change, because the religious, they believe that they need to live apart from the world, consecrate themselves to God, and pray for the world.
Wow.
Whereas Opus Dei is more about the world is our place.
Okay.
God is looking for us within this world, and to find Him, look for Him within the ordinary things of your life. So that's a difference. Another one is that the Jesuits tend to take vows, or let's say the religious, they usually take vows to get into their commitments. But that's not the case with Opus Dei, because being in Opus Dei is being part of a family, and we don't need to take vows to signal our commitment to our families.
Yes.
We're family, we're family. So these are some of the major differences. And of course, if you notice, the religious, they show it in their dressing, their identity, they wear habits and things like that. That's not the case with Opus Dei. So at least you cannot see me wearing my habits,
Fresh.
right? Okay.
Fresh.
All right.
Good. So we can go about our activities and preach the gospel, right? And then
With our lives.
Yes.
right?
Exactly.
And then you don't need to dress
Mm-hmm.
differently. Yeah.
Yes.
So, Professor, I understand that Opus Dei is a personal religion. It's not a term many people are familiar with.
Yeah.
Could you break it down for us?
Yes, so the way I'll explain the personal prelature is to use the analogy of being in Opus Dei is being in a family.
Yes, sir.
So imagine that the Catholic Church, and that family is the family of the Catholic Church. Now imagine that the Catholic Church is a family where one man gave birth to 2 billion children. Just imagine that, okay? That one man is, let's say, Jesus Christ, okay? Now, Opus Dei is part of that family, but then within that family, in a wider extended family, when you trace the family tree, you will see that certain people were born from one segment of the family. Others were born from another segment of the family.
Yes.
So Opus Dei is a segment within the huge family of the Catholic Church, right? And the personal prelature is that segment where you find lay people, you find also priests who share the mission of that segment of the family. And what binds the members of that segment within the same family is the idea of promoting the universal call to holiness and apostolate in ordinary work. So it's almost as if you are from a family where a segment of that family is given a particular mission to carry out on behalf of everybody. Yes. And so the idea of personal means that each person within that family has a personal mission to contribute to the larger whole, and is led by a prelate. That's why you hear prelature. The prelate is like the father within that family who guides everybody and makes sure we're all going in the right direction. So that is, I would say, the best way to explain what a personal prelature is. That is a segment of this spiritual family of the Catholic Church that is headed by a prelate, and the focus is to help everybody move in the direction of the universal call to holiness and apostolate, which has always been in the church. But I think at some point, God needed an institution to remind all of us of that mission, that we don't all have to be priests and religious to access heaven.
Yes.
Heaven
Yes.
is for everybody.
Yes.
And that's the message of Opus Dei.
Yes, thank you very much, sir. I mean, I love the clarity. I love it. But then again, I'm also curious to know. I'm pretty sure some of our viewers would also want to know what exactly is the relationship between Opus Dei and the Vatican.
Very good question. The relationship that Opus Dei has with the Vatican is the relationship that any responsible child should have towards his parents. Let me put it that way.
Yes.
A relationship of cordiality, of obedience, but above all, of service. So the things that come from the Vatican, that come from the Holy Father, are things that Opus Dei takes very seriously. Opus Dei studies those things. Opus Dei responds, as opposed to criticizing or as opposed to being in defiance. So it's obedience, it's cordiality, and it's service.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you.
And service, yes.
Talking about obedience, right? For some of us in the Catholic Church, when we hear Opus Dei, we think exclusivity, we think secrecy, and to some extent, cultism. So, what would you say to someone in the Catholic Church that think that Opus Dei is for a particular sect? Yes.
Well, I'll ask them to look at the lives of people of Opus Dei that are around them and do a comparative analysis. So you are hearing about my own life. You are interviewing me from my own house. There's nothing hidden. There's nothing secret. I think that the misconception has come from people who many years earlier didn't really understand why Opus Dei wasn't very loud about its way of doing apostolate. And Opus Dei focused as an institution more on apostolate of friendship, that is one-on-one, helping people at the grassroots level. And also because some of the earlier people who were part of Opus Dei had very high positions in government. And so there was that perception. But I think it's always good to demystify what people think. And that's why it's good to be speaking on this show.
Exactly. That's why we are here.
Yeah. Now we have a clearer picture of how Opus Dei works. So I'm sure or anybody listening will be wondering, how do I become a part of it? So I'm wondering, I'd like to ask, is there a specific process to join? Are there specific requirements to join?
Yes, so as I mentioned earlier, being in Opus Dei is being part of a family.
Yes, sir.
Which is a part of the bigger family of the Catholic Church. And you know, we don't choose the families we come into. We didn't choose our father or our mother, or we came to come through those families. And the same thing applies to membership in Opus Dei. That being part of Opus Dei means discovering that one has been chosen or called by God to be part of that segment of the family. But that doesn't mean that anyone can benefit from the teachings of Opus Dei, from the formative activities of Opus Dei, from the message of Opus Dei. It's for everybody. However, there are certain people who are part of the family who are called to promote that message more widely, to integrate it in their lives, and to help everyone, really. And those are the ones that have that. So how does one discover one has a vocation? One takes one's spiritual life more seriously. One seeks spiritual guidance, counseling of a priest affiliated with Opus Dei. And with time and with having access to formation in centers of Opus Dei, one can come to discover one's calling to Opus Dei. So that is the way that this gets done.
So thank you very much. I don't know for you guys, but me, I am learning a lot. I'm having fun. I'm learning a lot. Guys, we have to go on a very short break. Please don't go anywhere. We'll be back.
Can you see this? Can you see this? Follow us on all social media platforms at Populus Fidei Podcast, on X, on YouTube, on Instagram, and listen to us on Spotify. But then, if you saw this, isn't this beautiful? See you there.
All right, Welcome back to the show. We're still here discussing Opus Dei and its role on the Catholic Church. And guys, don't forget, we still have our Professor Uchenna Uzo. And before we went on the break, we're just trying to, get a deeper insight on how does Opus Dei affect our spiritual life as Catholic? I mean, aside going to Mass every Sunday, how does it, benefit? How do we benefit from it spiritually?
Very good question. So I think the biggest benefit Opus Dei offers is helping people discover how to do their ordinary work extraordinarily well. And it's in three ways: sanctifying one's work, sanctifying oneself through one's work, and sanctifying others through the work. In other words, what that means at the end is that if you want to bring out the very best of yourself in your work, do that work for the glory of God. And the effort you spend in working for the glory of God will push you to become a better person. And in the process of becoming a better person, you help other people become better people. So the whole world gets transformed from the process of working. And I think this is an important distinction, because sometimes we have the prejudice that Sunday is for God, and the rest of the day is for But what Opus Dei pushes for is what is called unity of life. Put God into everything, not only Sunday, but every activity.
I actually think that this is the basics of Christianity generally, right? As you go to work, as you continue your journey, life, you ought to put God in everything that you do. For me, right, we are young people. We are trying to adapt to the changes happening in society. We are following social media. We are trying to make sure that even in social media space, we are pushing the gospel. Well, coming to Opus Dei, right, the world has changed differently. So I don't know how Opus Dei has adapted to the change in modern times, like when it comes to digitalizing a lot of things, right? I don't know if you'd want to speak to that.
Yeah, so you're right that there's been a lot of technological changes for transformations. If you think of what artificial intelligence is doing now, it's really amazing. But the interesting thing is Opus Dei hasn't needed to change, because Opus Dei is young and is embedded in the world. So whatever it is that is going on, Opus Dei is moving with that. The gospel message will always be young and fresh and new. The church will always be young and alive. And because Opus Dei is part of the church, it is going to be always fresh. So in the area of adopting technology to propagate the message, to get more people involved, a lot has happened in that direction. Opus Dei has a very strong and functional website, and a lot of programs, podcasts, different things, essentially to help people follow God and come closer to Him through their work. And there are also different institutions that Opus Dei promotes all around us. One example is Lagos Business School, and a couple of other institutions that are offering top-notch education and support to people. And it's not that they are pushing spirituality in your face. No, they're just teaching you to be very good at what you do. And the experience is that as you try to be better at what you do for the glory of God, you end up transforming yourself and transforming society.
Thank you. I like it.
So, Professor, coming back to the matter of misconceptions about Opus Dei, what would you say is the biggest misconception about Opus Dei's influence in the Catholic Church?
I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that Opus Dei receives checks from the Vatican. That there's somebody in the Vatican that is sponsoring Opus Dei, and that Opus Dei has very high places in the Vatican, which these are all perceptions, right, that people have that are not grounded on reality. So Opus Dei does not receive checks, neither does it fund anything from the Vatican. Any member of Opus Dei takes care of his or her own personal upkeep. So it's not that one is relying on Opus Dei for things. But I think that in the end, it's easier to understand the mission and the role of Opus Dei if we see it as a family. And within that family, everybody has their own role to play to drive that mission. And the more we understand that, it will be easier to demystify some of what is out there.
Okay. So I actually want to add to that, right? If part of the mission of Opus Dei is just making yourself better, because you are joining, you know that you're growing and you're trying to make yourself better. So some people would think that, okay, so I'm joining this organization, right? I know that in the end I'll become better. So better means that I'll be in better positions, I'll attain, high standing places because I am better and because I'm following the way of God. So I mean, there's no how that you'll be placed high in the society, just like Professor Uchenna here, and then you'll not be making some cash by the side. So people will think that, oh, well, you guys are all making money, but you're making money because you are better at what you do.
Exactly.
And that's
Absolutely.
what Opus Dei.
Yeah, because when you are very good at what you do, your work speaks for you. You get recognized, you get rewarded, and so you're right. Then people may mistake that with saying, no, it's the Vatican that's giving you money, or you're trying to take over the role of the Vatican and stuff like that. But no, it's really that if you are good at what you do, then you'll receive the reward for it.
I think I would want to join Opus Dei.
Yeah, I don't know. I just want to digress a bit.
Yes.
I mean, you are a professor in business, and given that you're also very knowledgeable about business, spirituality, and all of that, let's just talk a bit about what is trending now. This issue of gospel singers that are talented, that are singing, and there has been a lot of controversies about them taking money to sing, to minister in church. And why are they taking money to minister in church? They call themselves ministers. I mean, given that you are a business professor and you're also very spiritual, what's your take on it? Do you think gospel ministers should be taking money to minister, or you just serve God and go away?
So we need to separate what is an act of service in church from what is a source of living for a person.
Okay.
And I think it's up to the gospel ministers or the musicians to always evaluate that. So imagine that my pastor invites me and says there's this special revival or feast. I need you to come and perform. But you see this as a service to the church.
Okay.
I shouldn't be charging money for it if it's understood as that. But if my profession is to move from one revival to the other, to make my living by singing, and I don't know how they define ministry, so I'm not going to enter that.
Yes.
But I'll just stay on singing, then I have to be paid something for it.
Okay.
So it really depends on the case and the circumstances around it, I would say.
All right. Thank you very much. All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
For, shedding more light on that. Do you have anything that you'd want to, people to know more about the Opus Dei community?
The Opus Dei prelature,
Okay,
you meant to say.
sorry,
Yes.
prelature.
Well, I think that if anyone wants to know more about Opus Dei, one of the very good places to go is the website of Opus Dei, www.opusdei.org.ng. There's a lot of information there. But also beyond that, there's a book called The Way. The Way is the first book written by the founder of Opus Dei, Saint Jose Maria Escrivá, which is a masterpiece. It's a bestseller, has sold millions of copies. In that book, everything about Opus Dei is well summarized.
Okay.
That would be a good place to go.
Okay. Yeah, where can we find the book? Amazon or bookstore?
Everywhere, even in the bookstore of Our Lady of Fatima or wherever, you can find it. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's available.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
Yeah, I would also want to say that I want to join the Opus Dei prelature.
Okay.
And since we're all working to better ourselves, maybe one day I'll be the governor of Lagos State.
That you have to start working on your spirituality now.
I'm in the right path. I'm being part of the Populus Fidei Catholic Church, Area of Fatima in particular. I mean, it's a good step into becoming better. So yes, one stone down, another stone to
We're in this together. Thank you very much.
So it's been really great having you here on this podcast, Professor Uzo. We thank you for your time. We thank you for all the light you have shed on the questions we had. And I'm sure that anybody listening who had questions or needed clarity regarding Opus Dei, they will receive same from listening to this conversation. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
And on that note, we'll be rounding off. Please do not forget to follow us on all social media on Instagram, X, YouTube, and Spotify at Populus Fidei. Thank you and see you next time. Bye.
We are Populus Fidei, people of faith.